What's good, Underground family? Andrew Mason here, and today I'm sitting down with Miles Newby. How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good.
So you are from New York, from Long Island, right?
Yep.
And you recently moved out here, like what, a month and a half ago?
About a month and a half ago, I made my way out here to LA from New York.
So what was the reasoning? Why'd you end up making that move?
Music, man.
For music?
Yeah.
Like, expand on that a little bit. What do you hope to do out in LA? Why'd you come here for music?
Really to start breaking ground. I started taking music more seriously recently. Really started producing records more professionally and taking the next level to release music, to put it out there to the public. For the longest time, I've been making music for over like 10 years, and for the longest time my friends have been telling me like, why don't you have your music on Spotify? Why can't I listen to it? Why can I only listen to your music when I'm sitting with you in your car? And I'm like, well, because I make music for me. First off, I make music because I like to do it, and I just love listening to myself. A little conceited there, maybe. but yeah. So people were pushing me, and lived a couple years in Florida, where I kind of fell back from my true passion, which is making music. And then, through the pandemic, I ended up back in New York. And that's when I really started drilling in and releasing music. And then the stars had it that I would come out to LA, and here I am, sitting here with you.
How do you like it so far? Like, had you been out to LA before you actually moved here?
I came to LA like maybe 3 weeks before I moved here for the first time ever.
To scope it out.
Spent 2 nights here. I got in my car to move here. I didn't even know where I was gonna live. I was just like, here we go.
So you drove here?
I drove here, yeah.
With all your stuff, packed it?
All my stuff. Okay. Packed up my car with my music stuff and a couple bags of clothes, and that was it.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to be here.
Do you like it so far?
I love LA. I don't think I'm ever gonna leave.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
This will be. I'll be spending a lot of time here.
Good. That's good.
It may become home. Yeah.
Let's take it back a little bit. Okay. So Miles Newby, you're growing up. Well, you're born like early 90s.
92.
92.
Yeah.
And what were kind of the influences or the ways that you were seeing music or getting introduced to music at that time? Who were you listening to? Who was showing you stuff?
Okay, so my mom, biggest credits to my mom. My mom worked in Quad Recording Studio in New York City before I was born. So like all of my music influence comes from my mother. And she would tell me stories about when I was a baby and I'm sitting in the car seat and she's bumping Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and I'm going like this in the back seat, my car seat as a little kid. And like, she's great because she grew up with the Beastie Boys, and like, so she was very much in the culture. So I definitely get all of my influence and, my passion for music from my mom, 100%.
And when did you actually start like doing it yourself? What was like the first step into actually being an artist yourself?
I was about 13 years old. I bought a USB mic and I got a Mac computer for my birthday. I figured out what GarageBand was. I started learning how to make beats. Then I invited my friend over, my buddy Charles. We started this group called Mob Loot, and we just like started putting out records. Can probably still find some of them out there. And that was it, man. So we like wanted to. It was actually the T-Pain. So T-Pain put me on too, right? So I was hanging out with my buddy Charles, and we were like, let's try T-Pain. And we're like, all right. So we're sitting there. I'm getting the computer out. We're just like playing some beats, and we just load them up and started freestyling. And that was like the start. That was the introduction for me. And then spent maybe like 4 or 5 years with him on Long Island, just like making shit. And we never like really officially released anything. So it was always just like a garage band. Like we were using GarageBand and we were a garage band.
What was the reasoning for not releasing stuff? Was it just like you said, like you never thought of it as your art really being for other people? It was really for you?
Yeah, I think in the beginning we were really just doing it for fun, just doing it for like pure enjoyment. And so other than showing it to our friends and playing it at parties, we never really thought that we would like try and release stuff. Also back then Spotify wasn't around. you know. It was like YouTube kind of just came around. So
It's like iTunes or something.
so when I first started making music, the only way to become somebody was to get a record deal. And now it's like you can be completely independent and just do what you want to do. And that shows through with the music I make these days a lot, because like I don't, you know, I like to consider myself as a hip hop artist or a rapper, but like I'll step out of the bounds. I like to make pop music. I like to make like alternative music. Anything that I'm, so pretty much I'll go into the studio, I'll be sitting at the mic and just like find a beat, put the beat in. I like this beat, it sounds cool. I don't care if it's hip hop or pop, I'll put it in there because I liked it, you know, it rang true to me. And then I'll hit record and I'll just hum on the track, sing a little bit, freestyle, and then I take that and then remove it, write my lyrics to it, and then go back in and re-record it. You know?
Okay.
So that's like the process there.
And so now out here, do you have like a home studio, or are you booking studios and going to like
Both.
big professional spots?
Yeah, both. So I have a closet studio set up. Will always have a closet studio set up.
Okay.
If I go on vacation, I have a USB mic in my bag, so I can, if something
You
comes
never
to
know.
mind, I'm like, I gotta be able to record it. So yeah, but then I've been going to this studio in Burbank. I think it's HMG Studio or something like that.
Okay.
I love it there. That's like the first real official studio that I went to, like where Grammy award winning people have gone, and like other than that, I worked in a couple studios in South Florida when I lived down there, but that was more like low key stuff.
What era or like time frame did you live in Florida?
I moved to Florida in 2016, and I moved back to New York at the end of 2020.
Okay, so that was a fun time.
That was a great time, yeah.
X, right? Lil Pump, like that whole wave was down in South Florida.
Yeah. Actually, like shout out to my graffiti crew, local vandals from South Florida. You know, me and my boy. He actually went to school with like Pua and like Fat Nick and stuff. So like, I was on the cusp of those guys. I never actually got to meet them, but like I was hanging out with the people that they grew up with, and I was like, wow, this is cool. We go tag shit up, graffiti stuff, you know.
Are you into that kind of music, like Puya, for example? Like,
I love it. Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely fuck with them. But then again, like I love music purely. So like one day you could see me listening to Pink Floyd, and then another day Dave Matthews Band, and then 2 Chainz, and then The Game, and then like Dr. Dre. Like it doesn't matter. I just love music.
Something that I wasn't aware of that you shared with me before we started was, aside from music, you're also a very talented graphic designer, graphic artist as well. When did you start doing that? What's the story behind getting involved with graphic design?
My dad owns a sign shop, and so when I was probably like 10 years old, not earlier than that, I grew up in his neon studio, like growing up in the neon studio. That
like
was
neon
in Queens.
signs.
Yeah,
stuff?
so he
Okay.
makes neon, makes any kind of sign really. But so like when me and my older brother were really young, maybe I was like 3 or 4 years old, we were going to my dad's sign shop, and like he had these awesome machines that could draw these full scale size things, and we'd turn them into coloring books. You know, like we would just etch things out, color them in as kids. It was fun. And then started like designing stickers and selling stickers to kids in school as a young kid. So I was always like had that hustle mentality, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like so that my design background definitely comes from my father. My music comes from my mother, the design from my father.
It makes Miles Newby.
Makes
Here we
Miles
are.
Newby, yeah.
So do you ever mix the music with the graphic design? Like, do you do your own cover art, stuff like that?
I do my own cover arts. Every cover art that's out there, right? Maybe not everyone. There might be a couple that I have had friends work on, but yeah, for the most part, I do all of my stuff. Like from mixing music to making the cover arts, any promo stuff. Right now, it's currently just me who works for me. And I would like, also you mentioned earlier about like why I came to Cali, and that was definitely had to do a lot with it, was to find a team of people, find people that I could network, find people that could help me, because I'm very headstrong, where I feel like I'm the only person that knows what I want. but like at the same time, I love to collaborate with other people and have other people influence me, you know? So working with other people is something I really want to do. And just like, I've been such a hermit and a crab hiding in my shell, but like life has changed a little bit, brought me out here to Cali, doing things that I've never thought I would be doing, and, you know, meeting people that I never knew I'd meet. And every little thing has something to do with something else. And the more I live, the more I see that these little tiny things all start to add up to be great things.
And so you've only been out here like not even 2 months, you were saying, right?
Yeah.
Have you felt like maybe in the music scene, but also just in general life, that California or LA people have been welcoming? Have you felt like you've been able to kind of seamlessly transition easily?
Yes and no. I mean, it's definitely a big culture difference, but like having lived in multiple different places and I've done a lot of traveling and stuff, so like that doesn't really affect me. But I mean, to answer your question, yeah, people have definitely been welcoming. I've met a lot of good people so far. I'm excited to meet more people.
Well, let's talk about it. What have you done so far in the 6-ish, 8-ish weeks that you've been out here, music-wise? Who have you met? Have you recorded a ton of stuff out here yet?
I have. I've recorded maybe about 8 songs here so far. I've really been working on those, trying to finesse them the best I can to get the sound that's in my head. And again, I'm self-taught. I didn't go to school or anything, so it's really, you know, every day's a learning experience. I learn something new when it comes to that. People that I've met out here, I mean, I guess it's not really that many. Now that I'm really thinking about it.
Even just a few connections go a long way, or just can motivate you to like even with underground stuff is we'll randomly meet or up with an artist or do an interview or something. It just like motivates you for another 2 months, you know?
So you definitely are probably like the biggest networking connection that I've made so far in the past 6 weeks.
Okay.
And most of my other time is spent like making music. So there's a lot of the time where you won't catch me outside the house.
Okay.
Because I'm in the house, like working.
And so when you're picking beats, let's say, like, are you a producer as well? You make beats? Or?
Yeah, I make beats. I love to use beats that I didn't make. There's a couple producers that I go to often. One of them is actually from Norway or something. So, and then there's another kid that I work with, and he's from Russia. And I love the fact that we have the ability as artists to work with people all over the world, because that's next level shit, you know? That's like, I made a song with some guy from Russia that I never would have met in my life if it wasn't for social media. And it's like, those are great things that I think we a lot of the time overlook.
Absolutely. Are you meeting these people like through Instagram? Is that
yeah. So a lot of Instagram is definitely my biggest tool when networking and connecting with people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people tell me like, yeah, it's so weird that you message everybody. And I'm like, you're on social media, you kind of want people to message you, don't you?
Especially if like people in our industry, right? As artists or magazine, like you have to be willing to you got to use it as a social platform to try to connect with people. So I think the fact that you reach out to people, that you have that grind mentality in terms of just being like a networker is really strong, because I feel like that's something where I am fault at. And like Povsky handles a lot of the reaching out to people. He's the one that talked to you, got you here today.
Hey, it doesn't always work, you know, like not everybody will answer you, but if you send like 50, maybe you'll get one. And like that one is worth a lot to you, because, you know, and it all has to do with like God's plan, like Drake, you know, God's plan. It's like, I don't know, I believe in fate and destiny and shit like that. So it's like, the people that do take the time to reach out back to me after I reached out to them, those are the people that are meant to work with me. And that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. So what is Miles Newby's fate or destiny? What do you hope you can accomplish in a year of being out here? What do you see for yourself in the near future?
I've got a lot of goals and ambitions in my head. A lot of them that I don't want to speak on because I don't like outside energy working against me. You know,
That's fair.
Big on negative and positive energy. But a couple, you know, I've like just taking music more seriously. I haven't ever done a show. This is my first interview. Like, so I'm checking off these tiny little boxes that will become big milestones, you know? So
You'll be in the magazine as well.
Yeah, like that's something that's crazy to me. Like, you know, I don't know, before I came to Cali, I never would have thought that I'd go to Cali and end up in a magazine. But I don't have to know these things, you know, they just present themselves.
And it's just, I think that goes back to just like your ability to network, your overall outgoing personality. I mean, I don't know, I met you 10 minutes ago, but it seems like you have the personality to come into a room and to just meet people and be able to handle yourself and show yourself as a true artist.
Yeah. That's definitely like the artist in me is the alter egos, you know? Where sometimes I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to leave my house. I want to stay in my shell. And then other times, if I'm in the right position, I'll talk to everybody and talk their ear off for an hour. But it's like totally depends on what mood I am. Am I in a creative mood? Am I a networking mood? You know, like, where's my head at right now kind of leads me to where I'm going. But yeah, man, I'm as much introverted as I am extroverted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk specific songs or projects. What was the most recent drop that you had? What can you tease for people coming up?
The most recent song I put out, which could definitely be a teaser in itself, is Gimme Love, which is definitely more of the pop. So like that, you know, that could give you an idea of where I'm going with pop music. And then my biggest hit so far has been a record called Bad Intentions that I did with an artist out of Brooklyn, the Queen Princess. She's amazing. Okay. And I have a lot of music coming with her, so that could be a teaser as well. And then, you know, my website serves as a great place for you to go check out unreleased music and stuff that might be coming up in the future.
And you can even see dope graphic design work on there as well, and merch,
all that stuff. Yeah, so the website's fully up, and the members only zone will give you exclusive stuff that you won't hear anywhere else except for there.
And do you consider it merch? Like the clothes you're showing me, is that Miles Newby merch, or is that a clothing line that you have that's not necessarily just like merch, like underground shirts and stuff?
Yeah, no, I guess it's definitely more of a clothing line then, because like, but I don't have a name for it. So it's kind of just like, you know, the fan club is called Miles Newby's Mad World. The clothing is part of my mad world that goes on inside my head. And like, you know, so
it's all connected.
When you buy a piece of the merch, you're buying something that, you know, I created.
I like that. How did you think of the mad world, like, sphere, the community? Like, how did that name come into it? Is it just MAD, or was there two D's that I saw?
Yeah, two D's.
So what's the reasoning for that, like, misspelling?
I don't know. It's just what my fingers did.
All right,
it's just what I typed out.
That's like underground. We spell it wrong.
Yeah. There's something cool about it, you know. It's like it's just more appealing to the eye.
Yeah. I think that's cool. So you've had experience making music now in New York, in Florida, and Los Angeles, technically, right?
Yeah.
What has been some differences between like the three worlds that you were involved with in those areas?
I think the most creative I've been has been in New York. It's like the records that I have out right now were all made in New York. And the reason I say that is because I set up my studio in my dad's shop, like in the Neon Studio. So
and that's
all the neon lights.
Yeah, on Long Island. On or in Long Island? What do you say? On?
I say on, yeah.
On, all right.
In on. Yeah, so that was definitely the most creative and the most time and effort I spent in making music to release, right? In Florida, my life was a party, so I was not focused on my goals.
Were you in Miami?
Lost in the sauce.
Was that Miami?
I was in Fort Lauderdale, but like Fort Lauderdale, Miami, I was in both, but I lived in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, great times. Not such great music that was made, but very, very fun, you know, life experience.
Yeah. And so what's the mindset that you're in right now? Like, you're in LA. What kind of vibe and energy does Los Angeles give you?
Grand Theft Auto.
Right, exactly.
GTA vibes. Wind in my hair, you know, the beach, the mountains. I live in the mountains right now, so the mountains are an extreme inspiration to me.
Yeah, you said you're out in like Calabasas.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
like
living out in
close to
Calabasas.
us,
Yeah.
near the 805. Calabasas is the border of LA County and Ventura County.
Yeah. So the other great thing about like where I live is I'm surrounded. I have Will Smith lives up the block from me. Kevin Hart, the Game, lives 2 doors down from me.
Oh,
and
damn.
it's like so I'm like sitting outside in the backyard and I can look over and see the Game's driveway and I'm like, God.
That's motivation in itself.
I'm
right?
making music in the same fucking canyon as the Game, like that, you know. So there's a lot of new energy that I have, a lot of experience that I've gained. Like the records that I'm making now sound nothing like the stuff that's out on Spotify.
Okay.
Because I mixed and mastered everything. And so if you go back and listen to the first track I put out, obviously it's going to sound different from the last track I put out. And all those tracks were already about a year old when I put them out, because I have so much music that I'm sitting on at this point. And it's difficult for me to be like, which song do I want to put out? And then so I'm trying to convince myself to put them out as I make them. So that way I'm not listening back 10 songs ago and I'm already sick of it, but no one's heard it.
Yeah.
And those are the songs that I play for my friends and they're like, bro, why don't you put this shit out yet? And I'm like, because I'm kind of tired of this song. I've been listening to it for 4 weeks already. And they're like, start dropping that shit when you make it. And that's, you know, good advice.
I think it is good advice. Like we just did, I don't know if you could see one of these, I'll show you after, or you might have seen online, but we did an underground album.
Yeah.
And so it's like all of the magazines that we've done, the issues 1 through 5, like we picked some artists or had some artists come through from each one, and we had like an underground official or original album, right? And that was my first time ever being involved on like the music side of things. And so yeah, we recorded some of those songs like 2 years ago. Yeah, this is it right here. We'll show the camera. Oh, but this just came out last week, and like I now understand how it is to record stuff and how much it costs, and to sit on things for a long time and get sick of them. But realizing that most people haven't actually heard it, so it's a struggle. It's a struggle, but it sounds like you're on the right path and you're learning things like every day, you know.
Every day learn something new. And if you don't, you better. Because that's one lost day. You know?
We're going to leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching. Miles Newby, go check him out. It's not going to be the last time you see of him in the underground world. Andrew Mason, shout out Louisy for filming this. Let's get it. Thank you for coming, bro.
Yeah, man. No problem.